95% of prop traders lose, and here's how you win. Number one, you need to calculate your RTR or risk to ruin per funded account. Most people have no idea what that is. They just wing it and take one contract here, 4 contract there when they feel like they're emotionally attached to a trade. They look at their P&L and all of a sudden they're $500 from blowing that account. And if that's what you've been doing, you need to stop that now and start calculating your RTR by doing this. If you're trading a $50,000 account at Apex, you have a $2,600 in drawdown before that funded account is blown. Risk to ruin simply means how many trades will it take for you to blow your account. Some people like to quote-unquote full port their account, risking the entire $2,600 in drawdown, but that's not very smart. I would suggest you put your RTR number anywhere between 7 to 9. And so if we take a middle ground of that, let's say the RTR is 8, we do 2,600 divided by 8, it means that your risk per trade is $325. And at Apex, they give you 10 contracts to trade for a 50K account. Don't do it because you're gonna blow your account. That's what they want. What you should do instead is trade 1 mini or 10 micros in total and set your stop loss to be 15 points if you're trading NQ like me. So if you're stopped out of your 15-point stop loss on NQ, then you lose $300 with commission and slippage. That is your one RTR that you have blown. You will literally need to be wrong 8 times in a row before you blow this account. You take a 1R loss on PA1, you go to PA2. If PA2 takes a loss, PA3 comes in, and PA3 takes a win, and then you circle back to PA2 or PA4 and so forth. But if you keep trading the same account, you'll end up blowing that account because you keep risking the same account over and over again, and that's not ideal. If you find that you've repeatedly blown your accounts and you need a more hard stop for yourself because you lack some discipline, this brings us to number 2. Use Rderrader Pro to hard lock yourself from blowing up. In order to set that in your Rderrader Pro, you log in and you would go to every single one of your funded accounts and you will right click on one of them and you go to risk and you select view risk parameters, which is the first one at the top. Once you're there, it'll pop up this message basically telling you that it's going to restrict your trading because it's going to auto liquidate your account when you set this, and you click OK, and that's exactly what we want because we want Rderrader Pro to log us out when we are tilting, and when we're revenge trading we don't want to blow that account. And this feature only works with futures prop firms who offer rhythmic accounts, and that's pretty much most of the futures prop firms like Apex, Top Step, Fast Track Trading, Bonox, and so forth. Once you're at the screen, you will click on risk parameters set by the trader, and then you'll go into this column here which says auto liquidate. Click on it and click enable. Come here and click loss limit under auto liquidate criteria, and then right here auto liquidation threshold, you will need to put your risk to ruin number that we just calculated earlier multiplied by 2. This means that if your RTR is $325, we multiply that by 2, then we put 650 right here in the auto liquidation threshold. Then we click apply and we click OK, and this account is set to auto liquidate and lock you from trading when you've hit $650 in losses for that day. The next day you can trade again, but at least you won't blow that account today. Because how many times when you're revenge trading and when you're on tilt, you don't care, you double the size, you keep going until you blow the account. But that's not what we want to do if you want to trade for the long term and profit. Let's say you're locked out for $650 for this day. No problem, because your total drawdown is $2,600 with Apex. $2,600 divided by 650. This means that you will need to be wrong 4 days in a row for that account to blow. If you will just implement this strategy alone, you will stop yourself from blowing many PAs and get yourself faster to pay out. Because once your head is cleared, once you're not in revenge trading mode, then you can see it clearly and enter properly and take your profits and trade for long-term success. Number 3, minimize your risk by reducing your exposure to the market. Most people look for strategies. How can I enter here, exit there? What they don't understand is risk management. Risk management is not just taking a 10-point stop loss or having a 20-point take profit, a 1-to-2 risk reward ratio. That is good. However, you need to understand that every time you're in the market, meaning every time you click a button to enter a trade, you're putting your account at risk. risk. The more times you put yourself at risk, the more likelihood you're gonna take a loss. There is a Chinese proverb that says, the more you head up to the mountain, you eventually will meet a tiger. The same way it is with your trading. Eventually, you will take a loss. So in order to reduce the number of losses, you also want to reduce your exposure to the market. And how do you do that? The way you do that is you would try to lock in profits as fast as you can with proper risk management. For example, with a 50K account, you need to trade 10 trading days with Apex and many other prop firms before you can get to payout. For the first 3 days, you will go in rather aggressive to hit the maximum amount of profit allowed for consistency rule. So for a 50K account on Apex, at 30%, you need to reach $2,600 in profit, multiply that by 30% consistency rule. That means that every day, your maximum profit allowed is $780. And so for your first 3 days, you will aim to hit $780 because after 3 days, your profit will be at $2,340. Minus $2,600, you're $260 away from payout on the 4th day. And from 4th day onwards, you use smaller size like 1 contract. You may even take a loss on one day, negative 100. Next day you make 100. Next day you lose 100. Next day you make 100 again. But then next day you make 200. And then the last day you make another 100, totaling 2,600 profit. Now you can request your payout. When you go in more aggressive on the first few days to lock in those profits, you reduce your exposure to market by allowing your 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th day to have less size, less exposure to the market. So even if you take a loss, it doesn't matter because the bulk of your profits have been made on the first 3 days. This is why it is bad advice when people say take it really slow, use 1 or 2 MNQs, take 2 months to get the payout. You don't want to do that because you are exposing yourself to more of the market risk and eventually it's gonna come back and bite you. Number 4, you want to maximize your profits by pushing harder when odds are in your favor. How do you know when odds are in your favor? There are some days when you enter a trade, you buy the dip and immediately it pops and you sell the rip. You short the rip and immediately it tanks and you cover on the dip. You can't seem to lose because your read on the market is on point. It's been going on for 1 week or 2 weeks. That's when you're on a winning streak. Your strategy is working. During that winning streak, you push harder. You do what we talked about in number 3. You push harder on the first 3 days, rack up the bulk of your profits because you're on a winning streak. Not only that, you should be able to recognize the type of trading day it is. For example, there are some trading days that it just keeps on going straight down like this. For the bears, they love it because it goes down, short the pop, goes down, short the pop, goes down, short the pop, and it keeps going down. It's a huge flush, huge red day. And if you recognize by here, man, this is a huge red day, then you push and you use size, manage your risk, rotate your PAs so that many of your PAs or funded accounts are in profit. Same thing for a chart like this. If it goes straight up and that's your strategy, then you keep pushing as this is going through momentum straight up. I know personally, I don't like straight up one direction for my trading style because I like to buy dips, sell rips, and buy dips. So I need to have more up and down action. So for me, if I see a chart like this, I see something go down, I buy it and it sells, I buy it and then it goes up and then it has a pop and then I cover on the bottom. That is my trading style. I know this is my environment that thrives. So on a day like this, I would go and push more size and push more of my PAs to be traded. Some days I may trade 5 of my PA accounts. Some days I may trade 30 of my PA funded accounts. And if you're wondering how do I get over 30 or 35 currently funded trading accounts, is because I don't only trade with one prop firm. I have funded accounts with Apex, Bonox, Fast Track Trading, Tradeify, Take Profit Trader, Top Step, and so forth. My main one right now is Fast Track Trading and Tradeify because those are instant funded accounts. The point is you push with bigger size when it's your style and it's your trading day, and you push to trade with more of your PA funded accounts when you recognize the day is in your favor and you're also on your winning streak. Number 5, be aggressive enough to make profits before you tilt or a black swan event happen. What exactly is a black swan event? It's like back in COVID. Nobody expects that the market can gap down 5% and then it was on circuit breaker, it goes down another 5% and it keeps dropping as if it's never going to bounce because back then there was mass panic not knowing what's going to happen. And so you see stocks drop 30, 40, 50, 60% because everybody is trying to liquidate their position. You never know when a black swan swan event is gonna happen, and if you're in a position and you don't have a stop loss, and worse yet, you're not trading prop accounts, you're trading your own personal account, then you're gonna owe your brokerage money. I hope you never get into a position like that. That is why right now, using futures prop firms is one of the best opportunities to make money, because there's leverage and you protect yourself from a black swan event like that, because the worst you can lose is the money you pay to the prop firm for the funded accounts and the evaluation activation. Every trader at one point or another will experience tilt or revenge trading. It just happens to us. We get in a trade, it goes against us, we add again, and it goes against us, and we're like, I'm gonna triple down right now because it's gonna bounce. There's no way it can go lower, and guess what? It goes even lower, and you blow the account. That, my friend, is tilt. You've been there, I've been there, and it happens to all of us. And when that happens, you can lose 5, 10, 15, or 20 of your funded accounts that you work so hard to almost get into payout. I cannot tell you how many times I've had people DM me saying, FSP, I'm halfway to payout. I'm 1 day to payout. And I've blown that funded account and they lost that 2 grand, 3 grand that they're about to get. I personally one time have done the same thing, $200 away from payout. And I said, I'm gonna lock in that $200 for today, then I'm gonna stop. Then the trade goes against me. I do it again, and eventually I tilt that account and I've blown it when I could have had $2,000 in payout with that account, but because I tilted and revenge traded, I lost it. And that's why you have to be aggressive enough, just like we talked about in key number 3, build up the bulk of your profits when the PAs and the funded accounts are new. Reduce your exposure later. And the only way you can do that is if you're somewhat aggressive. Don't use 2 or 3 micros. Use at least 1 to 2 minis if you're trading 50K accounts. And I personally only trade NQ because I like the big moves that it has. If you just use 1 or 2 minis, that will be aggressive enough to make you profits so that it prevents you from tilting. And even if it happens, you've already locked in some payouts and profits. This brings us to number 6, and that is the consistency of risk that you must use. Some people like to do 4 contracts a day, 5 MNQs the next day because they saw a YouTuber do 5 MNQs. And then the next day they saw another YouTube video, the guy does 10 contract full port, and so they do 10 mini full port, and they start blowing their accounts left, right, and center, and they wonder what happened. And that's because they don't have a consistency of risk. You must understand that trading is a mathematical business. If you trade it like a hobby, then expect to get slaughtered. But if you treat it like a mathematical project, then your likelihood to winning is much higher. So what is the consistency of risk? It means that you do not jump from 1 mini to 1 micro to 5 micro. You at least stick with a consistency of risk. Let's say I will only trade 1 mini for the next 30 days. Because if you do that, then you will not be caught by what is called the Murphy's Law. And that is anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Let's say you won 4 days in a row, I'm green. You know what? On the 5th day, I'm not gonna go in 1 mini, that's for losers. I'm gonna go in 5 minis this time. I'm gonna 5 times make it faster for me to make it a payout. And so you go in with 5 minis. And guess what? Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong when you 5x your size. But guess what? Murphy's Law cannot hit you if you have a consistency of risk. Every single day for the next 30 trading days, you only use 1 mini. And not only should you have a consistency of risk, you also need a consistency of strategy. When was the last time you looked at a YouTube video and you're like, okay, I'm gonna trade this inverted fair value gap strategy, and then you go and take a trade, you're like, oh man, it doesn't work after 2 times trying it, I'm gonna kill it. Then you saw another video. This person just keeps adding until they're green, and so you keep doing that. You keep martingale strategy, adding to your position, and you blow the account. Oh, that doesn't work. The next day, you see a YouTuber go full port, scalping 5 to 8 ticks, and so you decide to do that. You're all over the place. You have no consistent strategy, no data on how successful that strategy is when you execute it, and so the result is that you have no consistency in your profits as well. This also brings us to number 8, getting accountability and finding support. If you've been trading for a while, you know that trading feels like a lonely journey many times. You tell your friends and your families, they may not understand you. Right now, you might have racked up 10, 15, 20K in credit card debt, and you're still waiting to get paid out. You feel like you want to give up. Well, whenever you feel that way, I want you to go on Google and type in diamond give up and go to images. You will find many versions of this image. Like this guy who is so close to finding those diamonds, he never knew how close he was and he gave up on his dreams. Whereas this guy just keeps on plugging through and he finds the diamonds.